Since you're talking about building back better, we have Mr. Bilal Anwar, and I've introduced him. He's the CEO of the National Disaster Risk Management Fund. One of the questions I'll be asking you is, how do we build back better? How do we make Pakistan more resilient? I mean, we've been through the earthquakes. We've been through the floods in 2010. Have we learned? Have you seen that on the ground? Have we learned? And how can we make Pakistan more friendly towards climate change?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. And since I'm speaking for the first time, I'll just take 30 seconds to introduce NDRMF, National Disaster Risk Management Fund. This is a federal government entity which is registered as a Section 42, and which is mandated to build resilience Pakistan against natural and other disasters, just like one in which we are right now. Now, yes, I mean, there's a lot of talk about building back better, and you're absolutely right that Pakistan has a long history of dealing with disasters. In a not too far in the past, we know that 2005 earthquake, 2010 super floods, 2013 floods, and one of the biggest disasters of all is we are right now in which we are in. Now, I think with regard to building back better, of course, there's a lot of effort going on, and there's a lot of kind of R&D work going on, and as well with the different institutions under the Ministry of Planning, who are actually looking into very peculiar and specific aspects of building back better. But the point I want to make here is that if we look at the history of the disasters have been changing their characters, and they've been changing their natures. Just talking about flood, 2010 flood is entirely different from the flood which we are dealing right now, and both in terms of scale, gravity, as well as the nature. So this makes the whole the job and the exercise of building resilience against the different disasters, as well as more specifically building back better exercises, a lot more complex and a lot more difficult. But nevertheless, it does not mean, of course, that we shouldn't really strive towards it, or we shouldn't really look into that. There's a lot of work internationally being done, and that work has been very rightfully and impactfully being considered by the different government institutions, as well as in collaboration with different engineering universities and academia, and those people who have a long and rich experience of dealing with these kind of disasters. So. Yes, if we look at the history of the disasters, we see that each time some new institutions has been built, some disaster resilience infrastructure have been established, and my own institution, the institution which I am representing right now here, we are working under the guidance of the Minister for Planning, Hassan Iqbal Saab, and the mandate of this institution is exactly building resilience, and building resilience in consideration to the changing dynamics of the disasters. And the secondly is Pakistan have a very unique topography and microclimate as well in terms of the climate change impacts. So any building, reconstruction, and rehabilitation exercise need to be extremely specific and bespoken. So there is work being going on. So I think that right now, and I'm sure Honorable Minister is going to talk about it as well, soon after the relief work, and while we are walking out of the relief work, the rehabilitation and reconstruction work is being undertaken, and building back better in a very close consideration to the regional and geographical consideration is very much part of it. A number of institutions are actually very much learning from it, and they have actually come up with a number of new approaches in this direction. Thank you.